着实颤一众，终命瓦夫格，10万横魔界。
First announced over 2 years ago. Number one, we've got the game where winds meet. Possibly one of the most ambitious open world games we've seen recently, especially since the trailer, a new one, dropped this week. And for those of you new, however, this game is the open world action adventure. It's actually described by several critics as a wuha style Assassin's Creed that takes across 5 dynasties in ancient China, each having a distinct discipline to engage. Check it out in case you missed it. Fans finally have a release date for Grand Theft Auto 6 to look forward to. If you missed it, Rockstar just announced a release window of autumn 2025. We know, while this game tells an original story, it'll actually be set in an expanded version of the 2002 Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Moving on. Kingmakers, we already mentioned several times, is amongst the top 10 most anticipated games of 2024, possibly one of the top 3 right now. It's a battle sim strategy and a third-person shooter, if that makes any sense, set in medieval times, just letting you go back in time with a vast arsenal of modern weapons to change the course of history, so you can save the future. Here's a trailer. This game is coming to PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X by the end of the year.
У вас тут одненька задача – знайти в цих пісках те, що 20 років тому цисарські вивезти не змогли.
A couple weeks ago, Tower House presented actually the first gameplay trailer for Sand, the game, which is a player versus environment shooter we've heard first almost a year ago, which turned out to be a pretty unusual open world game shooter. It's not only the story that's pretty innovative and you could say unusual, Sand actually takes place in an alternative history in the 20th century where people are regularly space traveling and you're a member of a treasure hunting team looking for loot.
Ну що, хлопці, запрягайте. Бачу, вже насувається буря. Невдовзі зустрінемося знову.
We must learn to trust. Rebuild.
A little over a week ago, Ubisoft dropped one of the biggest surprise announcements of 2024 in the gaming industry. The news was they're putting all their manpower to finally deliver Assassin's Creed Code Red this year. In fact, November 15. Assassin's Creed Red, now titled to Assassin's Creed Shadows, is actually set in a feudal era Japan. There's two protagonists in this game, and this is how it looks.
I said, who do you serve? We are the shadows.
That served the light.
Assistance required in Lafayette.
Oh, there is a new game like Grand Theft Auto in the making, except you actually play as a cop. About a week ago we came across this brand new IP called the Precinct. Basically, you're playing as a rookie, fresh out the academy cop, who's investigating his father's death in a neon no-wire sandbox 80s. Now, it's actually not all that similar to new Grand Theft Auto games, but a mix of actually back in the day Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 with isometric perspectives. Check it out, this game is coming to PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X within 2024.
Police are engaged in a dramatic shootout. We could be in for a police pursuit.
Suspect is now on foot. We need to end this now. He's running.
Suspect is in handcuffs.
This is what the Mongols call human beings that were born with the gift to understand the language of the horses.
So, if the gameplay didn't really sell it right away, well, you're looking at a brand new open world delivery game, pretty much like Death Stranding, in which you ride horses in 13th century Mongolia. Name of the game is Windstorm, Legend of Mori. It's actually a mix of Horizon, I mean the characters inspired by that, the Shadow of Colossus in scale, and of course Death Stranding all at once. What's even better, this game is not set in the future but over 800 years into the past, meaning it's kind of a history accurate. Anyway, this game is coming out around September this year.
Mongolia. Windstorm, the legend of Khiimori.
Jalur impakon alastulos. Onjashin pubukaru ulinkum.
Dreamlit, this is a new developer so to speak, revealed another trailer for Towers of Aghasba, which we mentioned last month I think. In case you missed it, it's an open world building game and it's coming to PlayStation 5 and PC sometime later this year. Basically it's an island management sim where you explore a huge world, learn about their ecosystem, gather stuff, hunt, so you can eventually manage a civilization yourself. Guys, earlier this morning, IGN revealed another trailer for ASKA, right? Coming out from roughly a few months ago. This is actually one of the lesser mentioned survival games on the horizon. See, ASKA is actually coming from the same developers of Black, mainly action platform games. This time around, it's the open world action RPG survival crafting game based on the Viking era and the strategy tactics. Here's some in-game footage. ASKA is on its way to PCs only, June 20.
After being shipwrecked on this mysterious shore, it's up to you to reunite your lost tribe and carve out a new home. The gods have blessed you with the Eye of Odin, a beacon powered by Jotun blood that calls out to other Vikings. ASKA is a survival game where you're never alone. You decide who joins your tribe, so choose with care. Villagers are here to support your leadership style. Whether you prefer getting your hands dirty in the soil or in the throes of battle, your tribe will assist you. Feel free to explore while your tribe tends to the village, or stay within the safety of the community to build and harvest, and let the tribe fight off any threats. Primitive camps are enough to provide shelter for a few members of your tribe, but just like yourself, your villagers have other needs. If you don't make sure they're fed, warm, and safe, they will abandon the tribe or perish.
I'm not sure if we ever mentioned this one before, but there's a new Chinese developer in town, and today they came up with a 7-minute gameplay trailer for their open world game called Unending Dawn, which sounds pretty familiar. I think I've mentioned it maybe once. Anyway, it's not only coming to the PlayStation 5 but to mobiles, both iOS and Android. Definitely got Souls-like elements and boss battles and a slight resemblance to the famous MMORPG Genshin Impact.
狼牙之父希格里，我将为你狩猎。狼牙在上。
Now, this has actually been a good 4 to 6 months since we had an update on the game. However, NetEase resurfaced Project Mugen and said it's coming to PCs and the PlayStation consoles only in the final quarter of 2024. Now, for those of you who missed it, PM or Project Mugen is another open world RPG, rather Spider-Man inspired or superhero style action adventure with a campaign, story mode, multiplayer, and this is how it looks. However, there is word that the game is coming to mobiles in another beta around July this year. Number 12, we've got the long-awaited sequel to GreedFall, now The Dying World, which is one of the most anticipated open-world RPGs in the making, so to speak, from BioWare. Apparently the story of the sequel is starting 3 years after the events of the first game where we left off, and now you play as a native in the old world, which is in chaos due to a war and plague, and of course political problems. Here's the trailer. This game is coming to PCs and all consoles in the third quarter of 2024. Moving on to number 13, we have Soulmask, coming to PCs exclusively June 18. We just got a new trailer for this one. Soulmask is described as a sandbox game that prioritizes a very authentic survival game, meaning in this game you start from basically nothing, you explore, build whatever you can, recruit other folks to help you build your clan, and ultimately, well, once everything's provided, you get to unravel the real truth behind the civilization itself, or of the world. Check it out in case you missed it.
Wilderness firefighter. This beautiful ATV is my trusty beast. She may be rough around the edges, but damn, I love her.
Oh, Playway SA, or well, the famous developers Gameformatics, the same people who previously came up with really big sim games such as Car Mechanics, Contraband Police Sim, bunch of other games, they've got another hit up their sleeve for next year going by the name Icebound. As you can see, it's actually a first-person driving and survival simulator where you assume the role of a wilderness firefighter on a mission that's gone pretty wrong. It's actually a complete collection of real-time survival activities in first and third person and lots of fixing.
Patched up, but I'm not sure how much longer it'll hold. My arrival may still be delayed. Over.
Acknowledged. We can't wait any longer and are moving on. If you hurry up, we'll meet at the next checkpoint. Out.
That's right, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was resurfaced just last week. It's available to pre-order now on all stores. Developers even said that this game will be at least twice as big as the original game when it arrives. Now, that being said, the sequel, Deliverance 2, is a first-person medieval-style RPG set in a pretty reactive world in which players can develop their character as they really choose to. I've said it before, the game is a lot like Baldur's Gate this time. Check it out.
Nobody will hand anything on a platter to men like you and me.
You still have a long way to go till your work is done.
If you have already seen Dune movies, the old one and the new ones, there is a chance that you're wondering about the follow-up because we all know there's a third entry in the making. That being said, Dune Awakening might just be the thing. Although we're still waiting on a release window on this one, developers actually released another trailer for it, promising much more in the experience. Now, Dune Awakening, for those of you new, is actually a MMO survival base building game announced roughly 3 years ago. It may be a little bit like Conan Exile games.
Arrakis is a test. Few survive it. But
That being said, Survival Fountain of Youth is, well, I'm sure you can make a wild guess over here. It's a survival first-person player that went through early access exactly a year ago to this very day. Developers just came out with a release window of late 2024 for it coming to Xbox Series, PlayStation 5 alongside PCs, and it's full. It's also another single-player open-world survival game, kind of like the upcoming game Nightingale, although it's actually set in 16th century, the Caribbean islands.
It's been 50 long years. Every day remains a struggle for our people.
And lastly, we have another open world action RPG game in the making, announced roughly last month. We were waiting on a good list to include this one too, even though I think I mentioned it before. It's actually the sequel to the old co-op survival game Outward, now promising a range of improvements over the original, including a larger, more alive world filled with non-combat encounters in a day and night cycle, and refined combat, and much, much more. Check it out.
They have each other's back when it matters. I have seen them chase their dreams. I have watched them grow. At every turn, they surprise me with their adaptability, their resilience, and their grit.
You know the dangers they face. Only the exceptional can overcome those odds.
No, darling. Even ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Look how far our world has expanded. All because they chose to venture into the unknown. Don't hold their hand. Just open the door, and they'll do the rest.